What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today I'm gonna be talking about the time that I got on birth control. So I got on birth control 3 years ago in April. I'm gonna be 3 years next month, actually. I decided to get on it because I didn't want to get my period, which I got on Nexplanon. So with the Nexplanon, you wouldn't get your periods regularly like you would if you wasn't on it. So I didn't want to get my period and I didn't want to get pregnant. So it was like a win-win. No period, don't get pregnant. Perfect for me. So I made my appointment. I went and I got it. It took no longer than 10 minutes. It was quick and easy. The first night of me having it, I actually woke up in the middle of the night and I was like spots of blood on my pillow, and there was like a little blood coming out of the gauze that they put on my arm, and I started crying and I was like, what's going on? Like, excuse me, did I hurt myself? Like, what is it that's happening? So my mom checked my arm, and like as she was unwrapping my arm, I was like crying because I was in so much pain. And like where the implant was, you could actually feel it. Like you could feel like the little stick. It was like a stick about like, I want to say like this big, and like a lollipop. It was like the width of it was like a lollipop, and it was like this long, so you could feel it in your arm. And my mom was like, it's fine, but it hurt so bad. The doctor didn't tell me that it would hurt, so I thought I did something wrong. So I was fine after that, and I had a follow-up with my doctor. I think it was 2 weeks after I got it, just to see like if I still wanted it or if I wanted to leave it alone or whatever. So I went to my doctor and she was like, so you want to stick with this one or do you want to change it? And I was like, no, I'm gonna stick with it, it's okay. So time went by and I started noticing while I was sleeping, I would wake up mostly every night because I was getting up drenched in sweat. I was sweating so bad in my sleep, and I didn't understand why, because I slept with only a shirt. I slept with the fan. It wasn't hot in the house. So I was like, why am I sweating so much when I'm sleeping? So that was like kind of concerning to me, but not too concerning where I wanted to take it out. So I did some research about night sweats on birth control, and it's just because like you have all those hormones in your body, so your body's like, I guess, like fighting with it or whatever. And it kind of puts you at a state where you're like at menopause because you're not getting your period. So I guess that was why I was getting like really bad hot flashes all the time, and it wasn't a big deal. And then that went away, and then I started getting headaches that wouldn't go away, headaches that no matter what I took, they would not go away. Only if I was sleeping, I didn't have it. And then eventually that went away too. So obviously like those little things weren't too big, so I didn't pay mind to it. I think like a month or two went by and I was okay. Everything was good. I wasn't like reacting to it bad or anything. And then I want to say around June. Yeah, it was like June. A month went. Yeah, it was like June. I was starting to get really emotional. Now, this is where like depression really came into hand. Like I was emotional for no reason. Like, I was always crying. I was always like to myself, and I was like, I would wake up in the middle of the night, and I would get up from my bed, sit on my floor, and just stare out the window, crying for no reason. Like, I was sleeping and I would just wake up and cry. That affected me a lot, a lot. Like, it was a part of my everyday routine where I would just burst out into tears for no reason. And my boyfriend was living with me, so he would be confused, like, what did I do to you? Like, he would be sleeping and wake up and I'd be crying. He's like, but I was sleeping, like, I didn't even do anything. And I'm just like, I don't know why I'm crying. Or I would end up fighting with him for no reason. Like, I was just, I don't know what was going on. Like, I was just so emotional. I had so much emotions in me that I would just take it out on him, or I would be upset at the world for no reason. And that's when I started noticing, like, okay, this birth control is getting a little out of hand. I want to say that it was around, that was like May, beginning of June, or all throughout May I was crying. Then June came around and I noticed it. I started noticing, what is it? I can't talk. I started noticing that frequently I was getting yeast infections. Like, I had never gotten one before. I started getting them all the time while on the birth control. And I'm a clean person. My favorite thing to drink is water. But even that wasn't helping, and cutting down on sugar wasn't helping. I was still getting the yeast infections. And I'm going to the doctors and they're like, oh, it's not the birth control. It's not the birth control. It's not. And I'm like, but so then why am I getting this? Like, why am I getting these yeast infections? And they're like, oh, maybe it's your weight, maybe it's this, maybe it's that. And I'm like, no. And then the thing with my weight too, I lost 24 pounds in 3 months. No diet, no exercise, just lost weight. Like, I mean, I wasn't complaining. Believe me, I wasn't complaining. So I lost those 24 pounds and I was like, oh, okay, like, at least I wasn't gaining weight with the Nexplanon. It was no, I could get no answer. And I would look it up online, and there were some women who were going through the same thing, and like, yeah, I got on birth control and I started getting yeast infections and things like that. But when I would go to my doctor, they would always tell me, no, that's not a reason why. Or I could never get a straight answer. And I have like a folder, and it's like, I have like, I'm not gonna exaggerate, so I have like a little stack of how many times I had to go to the hospital while being on this Nexplanon. Like, it was so bad. I was always at the hospital. Like, my boyfriend even said one time, our dates were at the hospital, like in the emergency room. And it was like, it would affect me a lot because I was always sick. I would catch a cold, and it would like prolong for like a week, 2 weeks, and they would say, oh, you just have like a regular cold, the sneeze, cough type of thing. And I was like, but I don't feel like that. Like, I feel like I'm dying. And I could never get an answer from no doctor, for nothing. Like, no matter what I did, I couldn't get an answer. So I couldn't find no answers, and I kind of felt like hopeless because I was tired of feeling depressed. I was tired of like feeling sick or feeling down, and no one could help me. No one could give me any answers. And I started to think, like, maybe, this birth control wasn't a good idea. Maybe I shouldn't have done it, but I still left it in just because I really didn't want to get pregnant at the time. So I was just like, I don't want to slip up one day and, because the only way to protect yourself, honestly, from like getting pregnant is practicing abstinence. Because even with condoms, like, it could pop, you know. So it was no way of like really protecting myself. So, but don't get me wrong, even with birth control, you can still get pregnant. There's that like 2% chance, 1% chance that you can get pregnant, because I've seen it and I've heard it before. So it was around, I want to say July. Yeah, it was July. I stood with my boyfriend in his mom's house in New York, and I was there for like the whole month of July, I think, and everything was okay. And then one night he went to sleep and I was up, and it was pretty late, but it was normal for me to go to sleep late. Like, it was nothing too serious. And I was like tired, but I couldn't sleep. So I was like, I'm gonna drink me some chamomile tea and watch some makeup tutorials, and I know like eventually I'll go to bed. So I drank me a cup of tea, and by the time I finished it, it was like 4 in the morning or 4:30, around there. And I was noticing that still I couldn't sleep. I was like, what? So I made me another cup of tea, and even with that, like that first cup of tea, I still wasn't sleeping. So I started to get like overwhelmed because I was so tired and I couldn't sleep. I started to get really overwhelmed and anxious, and my mind started racing, and it kind of felt like I was in an amusement park, and I felt really exhausted and like drained, and I'm like, why can't I sleep? And you know, my boyfriend was sleeping, so I didn't want to wake him up. I just let him sleep, and it was starting to get concerning, but because the sun came up at that time too, and I was like, I'm still not sleeping, what's going on? So eventually I guess I fell asleep, because I don't really remember like what happened after, because it was like so long ago. I think I just went to sleep. So then I woke up in the morning, and I thought, everything was gonna be done, over with. I was gonna be good. I was so wrong. I still had really bad anxiety. I still felt like I was in an amusement park. I still felt overwhelmed, and I felt like I couldn't catch a break. And what did I called my mom, because that's always the first person I call, my mom, for anything. I called her and I was like, what's going on? Like, I started explaining to her how I felt, and then I asked her randomly, I was like, is this anxiety? And she was like, that's what it sounds like, because she has anxiety, so she went through all that, so she knew basically what I was already telling her. And I remember texting one of my cousins, and I remember asking her, if this is what she went through, because at the time she was on birth control too, and she was telling me, yeah. So I was like, like, I don't want to deal with this birth control no more. I gotta take it out of my body. I came home, and I thought, everything was gonna be okay, because I was gonna be home. Like, I feel like home is your safe place. Like, no matter what it is, when you come home, like, sometimes you just feel at ease. And not even with that did it work. So, like I told you before, I was always crying and depressed and all of that. So when I came home, it was a combination of really bad anxiety, really bad depression. So imagine both of those combined. I felt like I was at the lowest of low. Like, nothing could fix me. That's how I felt. And I kind of felt like really, really hopeless. Like, I didn't know what to do anymore, because me trying to relax and drinking tea and taking my mind off of it, it wasn't working. And I wasn't going to school at the time, so I didn't have nowhere to go. Like, I couldn't get my mind off of it for a little bit. I wasn't working because I couldn't find a job, so I was like stuck in this dark place. And I just, like, I made up my mind. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna take this out because I can't deal with it no more. In August is my birthday, and for my birthday, I like went through this whole thing. um I had cut my hair really short to like right, it was like right here. Yeah, my hair was like right here, and I cut it myself because another thing with the birth control, my hair was like falling out ridiculously. Like, it was so bad. I went to the doctor, they did my blood, they checked my thyroid and things, and everything was fine. But my hair was like, I would go like this, and I would have like so much hair in my hand, and I didn't know why. And I would try like treatments in my hair, I changed the shampoo, I did everything. So I figured if I cut my hair, it can't fall out. So there's a video for my birthday. I didn't want to do anything. I just wanted to stay home and kind of like let the day go by. But my mom and my boyfriend, they like got me a cake, and I just asked to get a board game so we could play at home. So we had got the game Speak Out. It's like the one where we put the mouth thing and whatever. We got that, and I was laughing in the video, but when I looked at it, like looking at myself, I looked miserable. I looked unhappy, and it kind of messes with me because I was at that point in my life where it was like really bad, and I had like other things like regular stress, not going to school, not working, and then all of that. So, I was just like going through a crisis at the time. And I always loved my birthday. I always want to do something. I always want to have fun, and I just wanted to sleep. I just wanted everything to go away. I just wanted, you know, the suffering that I was going through. I just wanted it to end. And I was never, at that point in my life, I wasn't suicidal. I wasn't thinking of killing myself because I always, like, first of all, I'm too scared to do that. Like, believe it or not, I don't know. I'm too scared to do that. So I didn't want to do that. I didn't think killing myself was the best option because, there's other stuff to live for. I figured one day I'll get over it. August, I want to say in the middle of August, I had made my appointment to take the birth control out. That day that I got the birth control removed was like the happiest day of my life. I went to the doctor, I got it removed, and I'm not kidding, no lie. As soon as I got it removed, I felt so much better. Like, well, mentally, I felt better. Like, I felt a weight lifted off my shoulders. As soon as he took it out and I left the doctor's office, I was like, wow, this is where my life has to change. This is where I have to do things differently. So, for now, I'm just gonna stop here and leave this as a part 1 because this video is already too long. In another week or so, I'll make a part 2. It's kind of hard to sit here and do videos every day or every week because I have school, going to a trade school for medical assistant, and it's a lot. I always have tests, I always have quizzes and things like that. So I'm always like, my head is always in the books now. So that's why, like, I did the last video where my boyfriend did my makeup, and I didn't do nothing after that, and that was like, I think a month ago, a couple weeks ago, I don't know. But I'm gonna try my best to be consistent with videos, but I'm gonna for sure do a part 2 to this because I do want to put my story out there because maybe it can help someone. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, you guys. Leave a comment down below if there's anything you want me to discuss or get into details when I do my next video. And or you could just DM me on Instagram. This time, don't think this time.